Martha, 58, woke craving a bold leap, not her usual Pike Place market stroll, not another silent breakfast scrolling doom headlines. Her hands itched for purpose. That tattered field notebook mocked her from nightstand, its blank pages a metaphor she refused to dwell on. Outside, a crow cawed like it knew. Seattle's damp air clung as she laced sturdy sneakers, grabbed binoculars, and marched toward park where urban birdwatchers gathered. Vibes shifted when she spotted them, women her age, some older, laughing as they logged sightings with Martha's knees protested as she crouched behind a rhododendron, fumbling with binoculars. 3 weeks into joining Seattle's Urban Bird Collective, she still felt like an imposter, a middle-aged woman playing detective while her field notebook, identical to one she'd used sketching wildflowers with her late mother, sat half-empty. Eco-grief had gnawed her for years, a relentless seagull screech in her mind whenever headlines screamed of melting glaciers. But here, tracking a stubborn spotted towhee, she found its volume dialing down. Pike Place Market's morning bustle usually left her overwhelmed, but now she noticed starlings weaving through fishmongers' awnings with same precision as commuters dodging puddles. Her first solo log entry, possible varied thrush near Cary Park, had earned nods from Gen Z members who called her vibes grandma core but chill. She'd snorted into her thermos, secretly thrilled. Yet doubt lingered like soggy socks. What if counting crows didn't stop storms? Then Tuesday's discovery, a barred owl perched on a parking meter, indifferent to honking hybrids below. Its stillness mirrored how she'd once balanced ledgers for small businesses, quiet persistence amid chaos. Scribbling sighting, Martha realized climate hope wasn't about fixing everything. It was stitching small, stubborn acts into a quilt too thick for despair to pierce. That evening, she bought a second notebook. Just in case. Martha's bold leap began with a stumble, literally. On her usual Pike Place market stroll, distracted by a flash of iridescent feathers, she tripped over uneven cobblestones. A firm hand caught her elbow. "Whoa there, partner. Birds don't appreciate faceplants." Voice belonged to a woman in a frayed flannel shirt, binoculars slung around her neck like a badge. Her name was Rosa, 72, founder of Urban Avian Alliance, a ragtag crew tracking Seattle's feathered residents. She hesitated. Birdwatching? Wasn't that for retirees with nothing better to do? But Rosa's energy crackled, no pity, just purpose. Climate's going haywire, but data's power. Every sparrow counted help scientists map shifts. She thrust a filled notebook into Martha's hands, its pages smudged with decades of ink and rain. "Your turn." That notebook became Martha's anchor. First, she fumbled, misidentifying a crow for a raven, nearly toppling into a duck pond while adjusting zoom lenses. But Rosa's crew, a mix of silver-haired rebels and young activists, cheered her on. They met dawn in community gardens, trading tips over thermoses of bitter coffee. She learned to spot subtle clues, how junco's migration patterns skewed earlier, how robins now nested in parking garages. Each scribbled observation felt like a tiny rebellion against helplessness. One drizzly morning, woman noticed something odd, a lone varied thrush, far from its usual evergreen haunts, hopping near a bus stop. Rosa whooped. "Jackpot. That's proof right there, habitat shifting under our noses." Martha's chest swelled. Her scribbles mattered. Notebook, once blank pages, now pulsed with proof of life adapting, resisting. By summer, woman led her own routes, guiding new recruits past fish-throwing vendors in bustling cafes. She'd wink their nervous energy. "Relax. Birds dig rookie vibes." Some days, grief still crept in headlines blaring wildfires, glaciers melting. But now she had a weapon, ink-stained fingers, a chorus of wings, a crew that refused to look away. Rosa handed her a new notebook on Martha's 59th birthday, its cover dotted with painted wrens. "Volume 2, kid." Martha laughed, no one had called her kid in decades. She flipped through empty pages, already hearing their whispered promise. "Keep going." Martha's first solo bird count nearly ended in disaster. Knees protesting a crouch behind a rhododendron, she'd misidentified a crow's shadow as a rare black swift. Notebook pages bore scribbled corrections, stupid eyes, stupid aging eyes, but she kept it with stubbornness of someone who'd once wrangled 2 toddlers through Pike Place Market during salmon throwing hour. Seattle's Urban Avian Alliance turned out to be less granola-crunching hippies, more data-obsessed nerds with binoculars. Their leader, a retired marine biologist in a moth-eaten Audubon Society hat, handed she a frayed field guide like a sacred text. "Watch patterns, not just birds," he'd said. She began noticing how sparrows avoided construction zones, how juncos flocked to community gardens. Her notebook filled with sketches and weather notes, margins dotted with grocery lists, proof life hadn't stopped, just changed lanes. Eco-grief still ambushed her sometimes. Watching news footage of wildfires, fingers would tighten around her pen until plastic groaned. But tracking a barred owl's nest in Discovery Park gave her a counter-ritual. If doom scrolling was itch, birdlogging became salve. She took pride in her rookie mistakes, laughing when a robin's territorial dive bomb sent her flailing. 58 wasn't too old to look ridiculous. Rain or shine, she walked her route. Some days yielded only pigeons, others electric thrill of spotting a pileated woodpecker hammering a dying alder. Notebook grew dog-eared, corners softened by pocket wear. It mirrored her somehow, creased but holding. By summer's end, her data helped Alliance petition for greener rooftops downtown. Small win, but hers. Martha bought a fancy pencil case to celebrate, then immediately got bird poop on it. Perfect vibes. Martha's hands trembled not from age but anticipation as she flipped open her filled notebook, its pages worn from years of grocery lists and half-formed dreams. Today's scribbles would become science. She'd spent weeks tracking crows near Pike Place Market, their glossy feathers catching dawn light like spilled ink. Urban birdwatching had started as a distraction from news headlines that made her chest ache, but now? Those clever birds had given her a mission. Seattle's damp chill clung to her scarf as she set up a folding table near Market's flower stalls, her handmade sign wobbling, "Crow Census, your city needs you." A few millennials in puffer jackets side-eyed her. One muttered about granola vibes. Creator grinned, adjusting her bifocals. Let them scoff. She'd spent 3 decades teaching middle school biology. She knew how to skeptics. By noon, her table buzzed. A barista from Original Starbucks leaned in, pointing her notebook's meticulous maps. "You're telling me crows recognize human faces?" Creator nodded, sliding him a tally sheet. "Prove it yourself." Suddenly, phones came out. A teen in platform boots gasped as a crow she'd nicknamed Boss swooped down, snatching a dropped almond with military precision. Crowd erupted. Martha's heart hammered. This was better than retirement bingo. Then came twist. A local journalist, sipping chai nearby, snapped a shot of woman mid-laugh as a crow landed on her shoulder like some feathery pirate companion. By evening, Crow Lady trended. Emails flooded in, schools wanted workshops, a podcaster begged for an interview. Even that puffer jacket skeptic returned, sheepishly asking how to join her newly minted urban bird collective. Strolling home past fish-tossing vendors, Martha clutched her notebook tighter. Life wasn't just worth living, it was worth capturing, one messy, glorious observation a time. Climate grief still lurked, but so did this. A flock of unlikely allies, human and avian, reminding her that small acts could soar. And if a 58-year-old woman with bad knees could turn sidewalk science into a movement? Maybe hope wasn't extinct after all. Martha, 58, woke craving a bold leap, not her usual decough hesitation. Seattle's gray skies mirrored eco-grief clinging like stale perfume, but Pike Place Market's bustle sparked an idea. That freight-filled notebook buried under grocery lists? She dug it out, slapped on a sun hat, and stalked crows like a detective on a caffeine bender. Turns out, urban birds had drama, territorial spats, nest heists, a whole feathery soap opera outside her window. Soon, her scribbles attracted neighbors. A barista with hawk-eyed focus, a retired teacher who imitated owl hoots, even teens who swapped TikTok bird memes for real-life sightings. Their ragtag collective, Beak Freaks, mapped migration patterns, logged invasive species, and turned balconies into mini sanctuaries. Martha's notebook bulged with sketches, a testament to roots regrowing in concrete. She guided newbies with zeal of a scout leader, her odd habit of naming sparrows after jazz legends becoming group lore. Eco-angst didn't vanish, but it shrank beside tangible wins. A petition to protect a heron rookery, kids giddy over their first hummingbird. Laughter replaced lament. Purpose outmuscled panic. That tattered notebook? Now a baton, past meetings where stories flew faster than starling's dusk. Grab your binoculars, joys perched nearby.